and welcome to the Faxon blog and podcast.
Back in the saddle again, Dustin.
I'm back. Name the artist.
Back in the saddle again? It's not Bon Jovi.
Well, I think he has one, but the one I was singing was Aerosmith.
Oh. Maybe that. Okay. Anyways, I was born in 1995. I gotta go.
That hurts my heart. Hi, and welcome to the first episode of Season 3 of the Faxon blog and podcast. Good things come in threes.
Third time's the charm, Dustin.
Third time is the charm. Lucky threes. I don't know.
You gotta stop now.
There's a Threes Company, Three Stooges. But but I think it's going to be a good season. We already have today. We're going to be talking to a couple of folks from the Midway USA Foundation. If you're familiar with Midway USA as the retailer, which a lot of you have probably shopped for Faxon Firearms products on Midway, but Midway has a whole other arm that is the Midway USA Foundation, which really helps the future of youth shooting sports. And they're all over the country, and they have a really unique platform and a really unique way of doing things and making sure that these teams, these coaches, these organizations, have the long-term money, that they need. And we get into it a little bit more in the interview, but Emily, you've experienced them firsthand.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, as a youth shooter who got started, especially in the state of Connecticut, where, shooting sports for youth aren't just a staple thing that you get, at your normal public high school. USA Midway Foundation was instrumental in helping me and my parents get a local team started for shotgun sports. And that team still runs today. And the USA Midway Foundation has been a huge help with our local teams, just keeping them going, helping pay for ammunition, targets, travel, equipment. They're an awesome foundation. They're doing a lot of really good work right now to help get the youth into shooting sports and keep them there and keep these teams running forever. So I'm definitely excited about our conversation today.
Yeah, for sure. So don't forget to go to faxonfirearms.com/blog, when you're done listening to this or watching, to go check out the links and some of the ways that you could get involved there. But also, on some news here, we took a little break around Christmas time in between seasons. We've had SHOT Show. You've seen, some of the guys pop up on some other people's shows and interviews because of all the stuff with 8/6 Blackout that's going on, which is pretty crazy. So if you've been hearing about all the 8/6 Blackout stuff, you could go to faxonfirearms.com/86blk and see a whole library of videos, kind of how Faxon's involved, all that kind of stuff. We've had some more pistol comps release.
Oh yeah, we are just cranking stuff out.
Chugging on all cylinders. So make sure you check those things out. But also today, as long as I get my editing done in time, this will be posting the same day we launch our next giveaway.
Yes.
Emily, do you want to tell the good folks of the audience what our next giveaway is?
Yeah, well, we know you guys love a good Faxon Firearms giveaway. So in March, we're going to be giving away a green gun to kind of, partner with the St. Patrick's Day theme. So we'll be giving away one of our Ascent rifles, and we got some awesome Cerakote done from our pals at One Off Coating. So it's going to be a OD green and black rifle. And we've got some contributions from some other awesome companies like Crimson Trace, who we've worked with before, but also some companies we haven't worked with before, like Two Vets Tripods. They have some awesome high-end, really nice tripods that are going to be awesome for your day at the range or even your day in the field. So that's going to be another item in this giveaway. We'll have a couple different things, ammunition from True Shot. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff, and we're excited. So it's going to be a good giveaway, and that kicks off today. So you have 2 weeks to enter, and good luck to all of you. St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
hopefully luck is with you.
Yeah, the people who hear about it normally first is folks on our email list. So if you haven't subscribed to the Faxon Firearms email list, you could do that on our homepage. Just scroll to the bottom. All you got to do is just put in your email address. It's nothing crazy, and you could get on that list to hear about those things. And also there are dedicated lists for things like 8/6 Blackout announcements that you can find on that landing page as well. And then next episode, a new thing for us. We have, started a content partnership with Clandestine Media Group.
Yeah.
So they do, we do some of our, photo, video internal, and then farm out a bunch of it to people who could do some things that, we don't have the space or whatever to do. And it's great to work with folks like CMG, but they have a shooter to shooter program that we're now involved in. Emily, do you just want to give a kind of a little teaser of what that's about and what that'll entail for next week's episode and some of the stuff that they see on our social feeds?
Yeah. So those of you who don't know Clandestine Media Group, they're out of Colorado, and their CEO, Luke, is a special forces veteran himself. And he's really passionate about helping veterans and hiring veterans. And he has a program called Shooter for Shooter. Basically Clandestine hires, it's kind of like an internship program. They hire a veteran who, has recently come back from duty, and basically, he wants to train that veteran how to be a photographer. It's a 6-month program. That veteran gets hands-on experience with the products of the company sponsoring them, because this is an entirely sponsored program. This, is coming from companies like us who get to sponsor this awesome individual, Zach. He's going to be on our show next, and we're super, super excited to talk to him about this awesome opportunity that he's getting to spend 6 months with Luke at Clandestine, just learning the basics of photography, and even better, learning it on our awesome products. So we're excited.
Very good. So make sure you check that out. They actually tagged Zach in a post with us not too long ago, so you can learn a little bit more about who he is and what he does and what his background is. And we're going to dive into that next week. So make sure you subscribe to the Faxon blog and podcast on all your favorite channels, and you'll be able to catch that interview both on audio and video. I think that's it. I think
that's it, man. We had a lot to update you guys on. It's been a minute.
It's been a long time. So let's carry on with our interview with the folks from the Midway USA Foundation. And don't forget, as they're talking about these things and you want to learn more, they do have a wonderful website. So go to faxonfirearms.com/blog, click on the episode, and you'll get the links to everything Midway USA Foundation. So let's carry on with our interview. All right. Well, to kick off season 3, we are very excited to have members from the Midway USA Foundation on with us. And we were talking a little bit before recording because, Emily, you're kind of, personally and vocationally connected to Midway. If you want to just maybe while you're introducing our guests, tell the folks a little bit about how you came to know about the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that don't know, the USA Midway Foundation, this is an awesome foundation that's helping get our youth more involved in the shooting sports. And there's a lot of great foundations that do that, but Midway is probably one of the most pivotal, especially for me. My parents run a youth shotgun sports team, and that's what I got my start in the shooting sports industry, was a shotgun sports team. And when I got involved in skeet, trap, and sporting clays, my parents started a team, and the only way that they could do that is with the help of the Midway Foundation. And using that foundation, they're able to purchase ammunition, pay for targets, help get kids who maybe couldn't afford to get in these sports or even just didn't know where to start. Midway is there to help these youth teams operate. And I mean, Sarah and Danny are here with us today from their headquarters, and they're able to tell us a lot more about this foundation. But just from my experience, it has been integral in getting not just me involved in the shooting sports, but I mean, tons and tons of kids across the country. So welcome, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, thank you.
So if you wouldn't mind, just as we start off, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves and a little bit about what your role is, or roles are at the foundation, and then we'll get into a little more about what it is that you do holistically with all of Midway USA Foundation.
That's good. Here we go.
Yep, you go first.
Okay, Danny Farris. I'm the marketing manager at Midway USA Foundation. Been with the foundation about 8.5 years. And, kind of goes without saying, I market all the great things that we're doing to coaches and the athletes and the industry and all those little tentacles, the parents that volunteer, everyone that we feel should be vested in their youth shooting team, which we think is everybody. Just try to communicate all the great work that we're doing to all of our constituents.
Very good.
All right, my name is Sarah Hall. I have been with the foundation since very late in 2017, and I have recently transitioned, but in those last about 4.5 years, I have been the Southwest program manager. So we have 4 program managers in 4 different regions of the United States, and primarily we travel to events, both shooting competitions and coaches meetings, and we're taking all that great material that Danny's making, sending it out to coaches and the teams and talking with them and really explaining the program. We're kind of the interface between all the internal workings at the foundation and what the coaches are doing out there on the range, explaining the programs and making sure they understand. Here very recently, I am now transitioning away from being a program manager and am doing project and special events. So the foundation has started doing fundraising events, which I'm sure we're going to get into later. And that is now my primary focus.
Very good.
Awesome. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just for those who don't know, or if you are, talking to sponsors or talking to event coordinators or people like Emily's parents that are starting a team and looking to the Midway Foundation for assistance, kind of what is the book jacket blurb? What is the kind of elevator pitch that you give folks, to try to explain it in a nutshell?
Yeah, absolutely. So Midway USA Foundation is here to help sustain and grow youth shooting sports. That is our primary mission, and we do that through helping fundraise and provide cash grants to teams. So we're a fundraising resource, helping teams fundraise for an endowment account that we manage for them. We work with both teams and organizations. We have just at about 2,800 teams in our program, rifle, pistol, and shotgun. So all different shooting disciplines and all different affiliations. So anything from a 4-H club to FFA school program, junior ROTC. It does not matter who you're affiliated with or what exactly you're shooting. We help fundraise and then provide cash grants. Yeah. So second elevator spiel.
And so if I read everything up correctly, and it's on your About Us page, which we'll link in our show notes this week, but this was something that was a bit of a passion project for the Potterfields. Is that correct? After Midway USA itself, as the retailer, as kind of that pillar in the shooting sports marketplace, this was something that they found to give opportunities for the shooting sports that, I think a lot of traditional other like athletic sports get, but the shooting sports don't necessarily get, the same school support or same, community sport, involvement as, football or basketball, baseball, volleyball, things of that variety. So is first of all, is that correct? And secondly, is, how long has the foundation, been active?
Yes. You are correct.
Okay.
So to elaborate on that, you're absolutely right. Larry and Brenda Potterfield started Midway USA Foundation because they had a passion to ensure youth that wanted to participate in youth shooting sports had the same opportunities as the kid that wanted to play on the basketball team or the football team, be in the math club. Maybe there wasn't a line item on the budget for the shotgun team. They wanted to make that happen. And so obviously, as you mentioned, Midway USA, there are 3 entities. So Larry and Brenda Potterfield own Midway USA Foundation, Midway USA. And they started with those funds, they started the foundation to take some of their success and create this nonprofit around 2008. Now, with that said, I don't believe we gave a grant until about 2011. So about 10 plus years that we've been providing cash grants to youth shooting teams. But absolutely correct in the vision that Larry and Brenda Potterfield had for the foundation. It was to provide opportunities for those young kids that wanted to do something a little bit different than traditional sports teams.
Yeah. And I mean, as one of those kids, especially being from a state where, shooting sports weren't as prevalent, I know a lot of friends that I was on the shotgun team with in college came from high school teams, they're from Tennessee or Texas, places where these teams were kind of just the norm. But for me, I'm from Connecticut, and, we don't have high school teams. That's not a thing, that we have there. So the Midway Foundation, that's where they step in. And that's where, my parents were able to get those resources to start a team and be able to run it through to today, so they've been running that team for almost 10 years now, with the help of Midway. So, especially in states like that where shooting sports teams would be non-existent without them, they're super important to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really interesting because, sometimes when you think of a foundation kind of isolated and a fundraising program isolated, you guys seem to be combining like the best of both worlds, because if I understand correctly, this is all, endowment based. So it's not necessarily like, go out and sell stuffed breadsticks door to door to your neighbor and, we'll give you a prize, while you fundraise for your team. There's more things that go into it. So would you mind just maybe explaining a bit about what the fundraising side looks like, and then how that plays into an endowment, based organization?
Yeah, so we are so unique in that when we're talking about fundraising here at kind of like our national headquarters, we're not talking about fundraising for Midway USA Foundation itself. We're talking about how we can help teams and coaches fundraise for their own team endowment. And so nothing that the team ever does is coming to Midway USA Foundation to help us with our operating expenses. We talked about Larry and Brenda Potterfield. We are here because of them, and we operate the way we do because of their vision and their continued generosity to support the foundation. So they assist us in covering our operating costs and a lot of our program costs, so that when teams use our programs, 100% of their donation can go to their team endowment account. And then we can provide matching funds on top of that. It's just a very unique setup that allows the teams to be fundraising for themselves through a national nonprofit.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, a lot of fundraising, like you said, it's very different. And the way this is set up, each team, they have their own account. So, each team has their own account to put money into, to get that assistance from, and I think that's really important because, like she said, none of this is going back to them. It's all for the teams. It's all for the kids. And that's been instrumental for a lot of people.
And so how are the endowments, managed? I mean, what's funny, I mean, I don't have, the same connection of being part of a Midway supported team like Emily, but for a short time, I did work for a college that I noticed is on your team roster list. And, they also, as a private school, operated off of an endowment. And I think some people kind of have a mixed idea of what an endowment actually is and how those funds and things are managed. What does that, look like, on the bookkeeping side of things? Why is an endowment based organization such as yourselves, I don't want to say lucrative for the teams, but, a positive thing for the teams, because it is, again, different than you sell this, we take some of the money and give you some of it back. What kind of goes into managing the endowment funds?
So you're absolutely correct. Maybe why would I have a fundraiser and send it to my endowment versus just take it to the local bank, right?
Right.
Luckily, even though each of these 2,800 teams have their own endowment to grow however they wish and whatever works best in their community, all of that money is then pulled together here at MidwayUSA Foundation. And it's managed by Goldman Sachs. And they are able to invest that. So instead of investing your endowment of $20,000, we're investing almost $250 million. So teams really see the growth potential. So there's potential that just gets added to their endowment. Obviously, it's based on the market. We all know that can go up or down, but it has proven very well for our teams. In addition, is like Sarah mentioned, the match. That is heads and shoulders above anything I've ever. If my bank would match every dollar I put in, I would spend a lot less money.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yes, so that match is another really key piece to their endowment. Again, thankfully, that's because of Larry Bird and Potterfield's generosity. But every donation, every fundraiser they conduct, if they're willing to invest in their future, in the future of that shooting team, they give it to their endowment. We have a matching program that matches those funds. So those two pieces are what we believe is what makes the endowment program so strong.
Yeah, and usually, just like with you, Dustin, people have never heard of an endowment before unless they have kind of a college experience behind that. And so it is different than, say, like your team's checking or savings account. The endowment account is there for long-term funding, as Danny said. We like to call it forever funding. That it's going to be there for the lifetime of the team. And Emily, you were a shooter here when you were younger, and then now your parents have the team. And even when your parents say retire from coaching, the endowment account is still there for the next coaches to come up and continue that program. So it's really about the longevity of having your team be there for forever, for well into the future, for as long as it's going to exist.
Yeah, I think that's such a unique thing because, again, like we mentioned, an endowment style of investment and nonprofit is a different animal. You know what I mean? It's not just interest on your savings account or things like that, or the equivalent of coupon clipping, and being able to have that long-term investment, and I mean to be managed by one, your foundation, and two, Goldman Sachs on the financial side. I mean, I think is quite a bit of firepower for sure. But what I am curious about too is just you also have special events that I noticed on the site, and you had mentioned some events in the different regions. What are some of those events like, and what are kind of your end goals when you're doing those events across the country?
Yeah, so we offer a lot of different fundraising programs for the teams to fundraise for the endowment account. And the special events are really just an expansion on that. We're kind of creating these ready-made fundraisers for teams because, like all of our programs, anything that we do, the donation always goes 100% to the endowment account of the donor's choice. So our next upcoming special event is going to be a pheasant hunt in Tekamah, Nebraska at Pheasant Bonanza, and then a sporting plays tournament right on the end of that, which we are calling Day of Plays. So let's say you have a team, this is in Nebraska, you have a Nebraska team, or really from anywhere, because we are nationwide, we're in all 50 states. Anyone can come, shoot in the sporting plays tournament, and the entry, you designate the endowment of your choice. And so whether it's a team that is attending themselves, or they have a group of parents or just community sponsors that love to go out and shoot, they can come join us, have a great time, participate in the event, do some side games. We have some good giveaways going on. And then the entry fee is not a fee, it's a donation to the endowment account of the choice.
And
that's awesome.
To speak of the importance of just the funding in shooting sports, I mean, Emily, you mentioned things like, you always need ammunition and you always need targets and such. But having come up as a youth shooter and then shooting collegiately and your parents coaching, what are some of the things that, people may not think of as far as, financial needs for a team that, a group like Midway would help offset?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's easy to say this is one of the most expensive sports you can get into, whether it's pistol, rifle, or shotgun. It's always going to be really expensive. And, like I said, getting involved in a sport like this comes with a lot more than getting involved with basketball, soccer, that kind of thing. Targets and ammunition are going to be the big costs for sure. And that's another great option. When you're using the Midway Foundation, you also have access to Midway just as a retailer. I know That's where my parents get all their ammunition. They get it discounted. That's another great thing that comes from working with Midway. But also just paying for kids to, enter these shoots, because a lot of these shoots do have entry fees, whether it's an SCTP match or whether it's, a local match. My parents try to get these kids out practicing every weekend. There's fees associated with just shooting at a range. So, being able to fundraise so that my parents, can write checks for these kids to be able to pay for them to do their sports. That's, another time Midway comes in. And, with any team in the country, that's always going to be, something that they face. Like if they want to all go to a big shoot and they have to travel there, that's something they use their Midway account, they fundraise, they, get that match donation. And that's another incredible thing, like matching a donation, what other foundation do they match every dollar that you put in your account,
Right.
So that's been instrumental for a lot of teams, especially the ones that I've been on. So every team I've been on has had a USA Midway Foundation account. So.
Yeah. So for the folks that are, interested in maybe just supporting the foundation or finding a team to support, we'll do it in a couple of tiers. We'll start with just like individuals and then maybe businesses. So how would like an individual who's interested in investing or making charitable donations to the Midway USA Foundation, how would they kind of go about that process and start getting plugged in?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I think you mentioned a collegiate team that you noticed on our website.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you were just able to notice that is we have this really cool feature on our website called Find a Team, Fund a Team. So it's a big red button on our website. There's lots of different ways to stumble upon it, but there's a big red button on the whole page. If you go there, you can filter on all kinds of parameters on our website, from discipline to state to zip code. No way they're in a shooting team in my area. I've never heard of them. Yeah. You put zip code 20 miles out, I bet you're going to see a full list of the teams we fund. So you put in your criteria, you pick a team that you recognize or you want to learn more about. Every single team has their own team page. On that team page, you can see their endowment balance. You can see the cash grants they have received from us. You can see how their donors. That's another cool thing. If someone gives, they can show up on that page. There's a big donate button on each of their pages, and those are tax deductible. We process them here, but again, that's a direct donation to that team. In addition to the teams, we help support state, regional, and national organizations under our organizational endowment. So, SCTP, SASP, USA Yes, same thing. They have an endowment page that folks that can donate directly to. Once you donate, then your donation is matched the month following.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then what about for, businesses, that may want to do something with, perhaps are in the industry, much like we are, if they want to get involved or be part of the fundraising or what have you, what are the kind of steps that they should take? And what are those opportunities for businesses to get involved with some charitable giving as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple different ways that we're working with some people in the industry, with some businesses that they are helping support our teams through the special events that we're doing, or through another really cool program we have, which is our product grant program. I'm going to take a minute and explain it because this is one of the highlights of what we do, and teams love to hear about this. It's one of our fundraising programs that allows a team to request a fundraising item from us and never have to pay for it. We actually send them the item for free, and this could be anything from a firearm to something else kind of outdoor industry related. We've had coolers, knives, optics, drones, and technology items. So the team can take whatever they feel is going to be best for their fundraiser, whatever works in their area and whatever the team is excited about doing. Once they receive the item, they can do any type of fundraiser they want. So raffle, silent auction, use it as a shoot. Again, we don't tell them how to do it. It's whatever's going to work for them, because we're working with teams of all different sizes and in all different areas. Once they've completed their fundraiser, we ask that they send a donation to their endowment account from that fundraiser. Again, 100% going to their team, and we match it But what's really special about this program is that after they send a portion of those fundraising funds into the endowment, they can keep part with the team. So they can keep it at that local checking account or savings account and use it for all those expenses that Emily was talking about that really add up. And the endowment is great for that long-term funding, but teams often need some cash on hand to cover those entry fees and ammunition. So this fundraising, this product grant program is a great way for our industry sponsors to get involved. It puts their product in front of a lot of different eyes, again, working with about 2,800 teams and then those 70 state and national organizations. And they're taking these products and using them all across the nation in their fundraising efforts.
Very good. And then on the flip side of that, just for the folks that maybe are part of a team, maybe they're not part of the foundation yet or have an endowment program set up with you, or maybe they're looking to start a team and it's the same question, oh my gosh, how do I, financially handle this? What do you do to help onboard those teams and then also give them the resources if they're just starting up?
Yes, so as a team gets started, they will work with their regional program manager. We help them get the account set up and talk them through all of these different fundraising programs we have. We touched on like 2 or 3, but there are many more that we offer, trying to give teams a variety of resources and what's going to work best for them to fundraise. So their account starts at 0, but as they do these fundraisers and make donations into the endowment, it continues to grow. And we work with them on best type of fundraiser, doing a little bit at a time, planning ahead, how they can use our programs and maybe things they're already doing to get those donations coming in, with the goal of reaching at minimum a $2,000 endowment balance, which allows them to take their first cash grant. We have we give real cash grants, 5% of the endowment balance. They're eligible to take it once every 12 months. We have 2 different grant cycles. Teams can take it in the summer or in the winter, depending on what works best for them. And so we're just working up with the team up until that point, getting them to where they can take their first cash grant. And then from there, growing the account even more so the cash grant can cover more of those costs that they have.
Mm-hmm. We're actually in a unique time talking to you guys. This week, we will be sending out over $4.1 million to about 832 youth shooting teams. So that's average cash grant of about $5,000. That's real cash going out our door in the hands of these coaches that need it for all the things that Emily mentioned. So yeah, this week we'll be paying those out, and it's always an exciting time to see. It's like they're fruits of their labor, all that hard work and fundraising and donations, and then comes to fruition twice a year.
Yeah, that's and that's awesome. And I think it can be frustrating for people to be like, where's my donation going? How am I really helping? But with you guys, it's so easy to see how that money's helping, where that money's going. There's no mystery there. I mean, I've seen it firsthand, and it's really great to have that transparency, and also just being able to Midway is such an established name in the industry. The Potterfields are such an established name in the industry, knowing that you guys are there to help, youth, help parents, help volunteers, that's instrumental in growing the shooting sports. And we can't thank you guys enough.
For sure. And if you go to the foundation website, which is MidwayUSAFoundation.org, I believe. Did I get all right? Perfect.
Nice.
And we'll
Good
put
job.
it up on the screen. But those things that were mentioned right on the footer of the website, you have some of your updated 2021 stats there about grants paid out and total endowment funds. And this is a legitimate, government recognized nonprofit. So these are, true charitable contributions that both personal folks and businesses alike, could write off on their taxes and do all that sort of stuff. And I think you've done a wonderful job on making sure that your accreditations and everything are down there and available for people to see. And it is interesting to go through and, sort by state. As we're in Ohio, we're in in Cincinnati, I've joked with Emily about it being from New England with smaller states, but, I grew up in Columbus and now live here. And Columbus is very much like you're just Ohio all the time. And Cincinnati's very much the tri-state, And so it's interesting to see, all the many teams at so many different levels, and then being able to, tap into them and see what their endowment's like and see the types of things that they're doing. I think it's just an excellent resource. But outside of the website, where are some other places that people could learn more about the foundation or see some of the things that you're doing, get involved in the special events? I mean, from where I sit, the website is your home of information, but any social channels or things people can subscribe to kind of stay in the know with what the foundation is doing?
Yeah, good question. So you're right. Our website is the hub. We have a blog. I always recommend folks to subscribe to that blog to know firsthand when we have some new things and when your money gets matched. We always put that out there. Hey, your donation's been matched. Here's the ratio. But in addition, we also have a Facebook page that we keep up to date. We have Instagram. We have a YouTube channel with some videos. Sometimes the video tells our story even better than we can, so we can check that out. But those are the primary places. And then obviously, if you're someone interested in a team, and what do I do next? Our website will show those regional program managers that Sarah mentioned. You can talk directly with one of them in your area, and they're a great resource.
Awesome.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us. As mentioned, if you go to faxonfirearms.com/blog and click on the Midway episode, you'll have all the links that were mentioned today, some of the information, how to get involved, and all the links to the social profiles and the foundation website. So ladies, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I love it.